you might not end up with the best guitar in the world. Produce low heavy music and find any of this helpful, please crush those like and subscribe buttons. Hello, I am the Bun and you are watching Baritone Obsessed. This is a show where we talk about baritone guitars, usually on the lower side of things, the longer side of things. Today we are talking about neck conversions. Initially, I wanted to make a video about the step-by-step of doing it all, and I ran into a whole bunch of problems and it took really long time, and so we're making this video instead. This is the typical scenario. You have a cheap Stratocaster or Telecaster laying around, and you think to yourself, it'd be sick if I could save all this money and just convert the guitar I already have into a baritone instead of buying a brand new baritone. And as soon as you buy the neck or think about buying the neck, you're like, I'm gonna need some tuners, and maybe this is the time to get some pickups because the pickups in this cheap guitar are not very awesome, and I wanna do this low tuning thing, and I want clarity, and la da 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 da. So now that you're going down that road of all these parts, you start to think, I'm building my own custom guitar, my own dream guitar. And you think, this guitar is gonna be killer because I chose all the best parts. So it's clearly gonna be the best guitar. And I don't know if that's true. Back in 2012, I purchased this here 72 vintage modified Telecaster. The guitar was super cheap. It was like $150, $170, somewhere around there. And it was so cheap that the very first time that I did the intonation adjustment, the bridge saddle stripped out on the low string. I was like, great. And then it was 2016 by the time I kind of got actually rolling with it a little bit. And then 2019, I finally had all the parts, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna actually do this. So the only stock things on here are the body, the pick guard, and the strap buttons, and the string furls. And that's the, and the plate. And that's not me showing off, it's kind of like how far you end up going with all this stuff. And you're like, I'm gonna save so much money, like. So the neck is from WARMOTH. It comes out of the showcase. It's 28.625 inches in scale. The next is the tuning machines. I got the tuning machines from Philadelphia Luthier Supply. They are Godot locking tuners, mini locking tuners. They're tapered, meaning the first 3 string posts are short and the second 3 posts are longer. And this allows you to have a natural taper of the string to pull the strings down over the nut. The idea is that you don't need a string tree. However, I've realized that I still need a string tree. Third is the pickups, and I got these from Stu Mac. They are lace alumitone standard humbuckers. Fourth would be the bridge. The bridge is also a Godot product, same as the tuners. I got this from All Parts. The last thing would be the electronics, which is the output, the CTS pot, and the Switchcraft switch. I believe the output is also, the jack is also a Switchcraft jack. So putting it together, what did I get myself into? The installation of things was very easy. That was way easier than I thought it would be. Probably the easiest part of the whole thing. So the neck went on fine, but this neck has this crazy like overhang here. The fretboard overhangs the body, and it also hangs over the pickguard. And it also covers the truss rod adjustment. Most of my guitars have a truss rod adjustment here, or they have a pinwheel down here that is totally accessible and very easy. So I didn't account for the fact that I wouldn't be able to access the truss rod without taking the neck off, and I wouldn't be able to take the pickguard off without taking the neck off. Both of those things are like gross oversights and something to think about. If you want like a traditional Fender style headstock, you can't get it with the adjustment here. It's always gonna be vintage spec. If you want the adjustment at the headstock, you're gonna have to get one of their angled headstocks. The fretboard is still gonna hang over, so if you have a pick guard there or something you need access to, that's gonna be a problem. You need to think about that right away. In the beginning, I couldn't get this thing to tune at all. It was out of tune down here and it was out of tune up here. And it was kind of in tune in the middle a little bit. Because I have to take the neck off and set it up that way to adjust the truss rod and get everything happening, I've been very slow to set it up. And it's mostly there, like it plays. I didn't have any hookup wire or any of that stuff to put this together. I have a soldering gun, but I didn't have anything else. And what I initially tried to do was the Mad Hatter solderless system. I didn't measure things right. I didn't account for some of the things that it needed to be, and it just didn't fit. And I was like, damn. So those are my challenges in doing this. If you're going through this and you're having problems of your own, I'd love to hear about it down below. That would be great. We could confide in each other. The conclusion, the summary. Is this thing something you should do? If you want to save money and time, it's not the thing to do. That's not going to be the case for everyone. My buddy Chris, he's one of the admins at Baritone Obsessed Facebook group. He converted one of his Strats with a WARMOTH neck and did all that. And I think it was glitch-free for him. I think it just went no problem and it happened pretty quick. So everybody's experience is different. You can message him on his channel and find out, or you can go to Baritone Obsessed and talk to him about it. So second, you want to do a conversion because you're curious about working on guitars and doing all this bitchin' guitar stuff. That is a viable thing. I highly recommend doing that if that's your thing, because you will learn a lot. Maybe you won't. Maybe it'll just be like super smooth and you'll be like, that was easy, I didn't learn anything. If you're great with tools already, you know, and you've done guitar mods already, pickup changes and all this sort of stuff, you'll probably find this pretty easy. If you like what's going on here and you'd like to help it out, there's 3 different ways that you can do that. Number 1 would be Patreon. Patreon is incredible. Thank you to all of you who are currently supporting the channel on Patreon. It is very, very appreciated. It's like amazing. There are 2 tiers on Patreon. On the upper tier, you become a co-producer to the channel and you help all these things along and you get credit for it. And yeah, you are the bomb. On the lower tier, the minimum pledge is $1, very accessible. So if you like what's going on, you just kind of want to give it a little bump. Hypothetically, if say 1,000 people from the channel subscribers pledged $1 or $2, we would be able to move this channel along in a very big way and bring out content very frequently. I currently work a job, so it's very limited what I can do. So that is one way to speed things up that way if it's important to you. I like doing it. I'm always gonna do it. But if you would like to see more, that's a way you could influence it to be more quickly. The second way to support the channel is through merch. You know, I have t-shirts for sale. All of you who have grabbed t-shirts so far, that is amazing. Thank you so much. Very appreciated. I like to see photos of it. And number 3, I have music. You know, it's a music channel, so I have music for sale and for stream, and you can find all that down below. You can find the links to everything in the description below. If you're obsessed with heavy riffs and baritone guitars, crush that subscribe button and hang out.